Hello, boys. Welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast. I am your host, Gurnatez, and you can get me at Gurnatez. Tony, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. The countdown music's like ominous, go into war music, and then you come in with your big squeaky voice. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I know. I got to adjust that. Addy, how are you, mate?
Man, I'm doing well. Doing well. Starting to get cold here in England, so just a little bit chilly. Trying to keep myself warm, but other than that, I'm good.
No worries, all good. What am I doing, Jack? Jack, where are you? Not coming.
He said like 5 minutes or some shit.
Jeez, this bloke, he's fucking painful. Should I add him? Add him. I'll add him. Nah, let him sit there for a while. Think about it, fucky. Jack, how are you, mate?
All right, lads. Sorry about that. You put 5 minutes in the chat and then 10, and then after 5 just came on. So I was a little bit delayed. So apologies.
Apologies. Is that all you got to say for me, mate? The listeners have been waiting for you. The whole world waits on Jack, and all he says is apologies. Okay, let's get on to it. Liverpool v Arsenal, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning here. An absolute fucking rookie error for me to say let's do it at 6 a.m. because, like, I'm not even a talkative person first thing in the morning. So, yeah. But anyway, here we are, and welcome everybody to us. And I can see you now comments in the chat, which is great. I'm just trying to go through. Tony, Arsenal v Liverpool. Let's get into it, mate. Lineup, when that came out, I was a little bit shocked, but your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much everyone would have had Ceballos over El Neni. In hindsight, there's a few other changes I would have made, but as and when it came out, I think that was the only big shocker. I mean, the left centre-back for me, I've always thought KT was going to play. And then Holding is the only one that can play on the right out of the people we've got fit. So then it was just a toss-up between Luiz and Gabriel, and I personally thought Luiz would play, which he did. So the only thing that really shocked me in the lineup was El Neni playing. But yeah, looking at the way we tried to play, I don't think he picked the right lineup for the tactics he wanted us to employ. But obviously, I didn't know what he was going to do when the lineup came out. So I just looked at the names on the paper and thought, for me, El Neni out and Ceballos in.
I look, obviously, a lot of us did look at that El Neni in, and the only thing I could come with was, Ceballos is a bit more flashy, a bit more creativity, where El Neni's probably a little bit more defensive. So that was kind of my thinking around it. But then after seeing it, I was like, no, that just doesn't work, does it? Addy, your thoughts on the lineup, mate?
I think I said it in the chat yesterday that when I saw the lineup, for me, it was you're playing one of the most mobile teams in the league, and we have two really, really immobile centre midfielders out there. Like obviously Xhaka was always going to play, but El Neni was the main one for me that I was lost. Like obviously, I was saying to some people maybe he's based it on the Community Shield, which was a glorified pre-season fixture, especially in this season where hardly any teams had pre-seasons. So to actually base it off of that I won't lie to you, I was baffled. But yeah, I won't lie to you, I was frustrated. But when we get into it,
Yep.
I think I might rant today.
I'm hearing you, mate. I'm hearing you. Jack, give us your thoughts on the lineup, buddy.
Yeah, similar. I found it quite surprising to see El Neni there instead of Ceballos, especially because of the lack of creativity that we have anyways, and Ceballos does give you that bit extra. The other one is that I know it's not as defensive, but part of me would have been tempted to have played Saka at left wing back simply because he has that bit of pace. He's a bit more creative, and I've got to be honest with you, I even would have been tempted to start. I understand he scored, but Eddie over Laka, because what worked for us well in the home game was that we had a very pacey, high press sort of front three. And if I got to be honest with you, I don't really think Willian offers much pace, and I don't really understand why he was starting on the right in the first place. So I probably would have gone for Pepe as well, simply because if your aim is to soak up pressure and to go on the counter, surely then you need more explosive pace to catch them on the break, especially with Liverpool playing a high line. So I probably would have gone Eddie in the middle or Aubameyang on the left, and Pepe out wide on the right. But obviously Mikel has his reasons, and I mean, look, it was a bit too conservative, I'd say, and I don't really think the players he selected, especially for the front three, highlighted how we should break forward. And also, even in the midfield, like, I personally, and I understand we'll get onto it a bit later, but I wouldn't have played a five at the back, or I would have, because what it meant is Liverpool have a very, very strong midfield, very physical, and because they only had to deal with Xhaka and El Neni, it kind of allowed Fabinho to drop back and just man-mark Aubameyang because they didn't need to have the bodies in the midfield. So essentially, Fabinho and Wijnaldum kept basically playing as right backs, because in that situation, you're isolating Aubameyang, because the biggest risk to them is Aubameyang taking on Trent, because defensively Trent isn't all that. However, by put one of the men on Aubameyang, because we had a two-man midfield, it allowed Trent to bomb forward and be a much more attacking threat, and not really need to defend as much. And I think it cost us massively on that, based on the formation and the way that Liverpool were able to nullify us in the middle and prevent Aubameyang, who is our best player, from getting the ball and doing something, as we saw him do against them in the Community Shield.
I'm just going to, full disclosure here for a minute. And you people are going to be sitting there going, what the fuck? Doesn't he even remember the FA Cup? I'll be honest, due to my medical conditions, mate, my life is a constant notes on things, Post-its, iPads, things like that, right? So, yes, I don't remember a thing about the FA Cup unless I revisited the preview right now. The question I'm going to ask Tony was, I can't remember what the lineup was on the FA Cup.
You mean the Shield?
The Shield, sorry, the Shield and the FA Cup final. What was the difference there? For the life of me, I should have probably looked before I did the podcast.
The Community Shield was the same back five, the same centre mids. Saka played on the right instead of Willian. I think Laka didn't play. Did
Martinez?
No, Martinez. That's what I was going to call. The biggest difference was Martinez. But was it Eddie? It must have been Eddie that played through the middle, because I know Laka wasn't back yet. He was still in the time when they had to quarantine. So yeah, it was Eddie. So Eddie played through the middle. So the only differences were Saka on the right for Willian, Martinez, and Eddie for Laka.
Okay. Because a few people are saying, the lineup. Well, Jack Brewer said here that the lineup screamed playing not to lose.
I also don't necessarily think that comment's fair, because essentially, when you're playing against these sort of teams, you kind of have to set up that way if you want to get a result, in my opinion.
I
also don't agree with the formation.
I disagree with you.
We don't have the midfield to be able to have beaten them unless we would have played it the way I said before.
Eddie, how would you have lined up that differently? Like, what would you have changed?
What I would have changed was that I wouldn't have gone to five at the back, because again, you're fighting so much pressure. I would have played a four at the back, and again now I would have attacked Liverpool's weakness, and they knew that they wanted to press us high, and everybody knew the best way to get at them was on the counter attack. And even as much as I hated Unai Emery last year, in that first half last year, it was the first time a couple teams actually got at Liverpool, and that was because he played Aubameyang and Pepe as a two, and then Ceballos just behind him.
Wasn't he playing Ceballos as a winger though?
No, I thought Ceballos was behind. I thought we played a 4-3-1-2, and then Ceballos was there to trying to cover both fullbacks. But then we got rinsed. But then I thought it was Willock, Xhaka, and who else was in there? Willock, Xhaka. I can't remember who the other midfielder was in there. There was another midfielder in there. I remember, but then, yeah, I think we set up incorrectly to to hit him on the counter. Alba was anonymous in this game. I don't even know how many touches he had of the ball yesterday. First half, I thought it was attack versus defense. No.
Right. Well, let's break the game down a little bit, because I can hear you are very, very frustrated there at the moment. You want to get a lot out, and a lot of it. Okay, look, Tony, we went into I'm going to touch on this Mane situation, red card or not. I did get a question up earlier about a red card. Look, I'll give you my thoughts. I at first I thought not a red card. Then obviously you go to social media and you go, people are like, red card. That was crazy. Should have been red card. I looked at it again this morning, and I have to stick with it. I don't think it was a red card for me. Yellow, yes. I think, and I'm trying not to be biased in my judgment. Like, if it was a Chelsea player and playing Man City, I would still say I don't think it was a red card, lads. Tony, your thoughts?
It's a tough one for me, because I think it's pretty comfortably a red. No, I think it's a red, but I can understand why it wasn't given. I was kind of frustrated that the ref didn't even go and have a look and had like a screen and gone, if you'd seen this, what would you have given? I tweeted there's a guy who works for ESPN who's literally a VAR expert. I end up arguing with him all the time, so I don't agree with what he says. He's always right, but I don't agree with VAR, so that's where the problem's going to come in. And he said that they basically only check if it's clearly, like, they've changed the rule slightly. So it has to be clearly and obviously wrong for them to go and look. So it doesn't have to be a clear and obvious offence. It has to be clearly and obviously wrong. So because it wasn't clearly and obviously wrong, and I agree with that, the ref didn't look. But for me, I just think that's getting out of making decisions. For me, and I think anyone who's played, and I hate using that phrase because it sounds so condescending. You know, when they call it iron bar, or hold someone off with your arm, you hold them off. And if they're not there, then you would just miss. Mane's throwing that with force, and people going, but it bounced off his shoulder, so it weren't in his head. Well, that proves he's showing its force. Usually, if you're just holding your arm out as a bar, if it hit their shoulder, it would just stay on their shoulder. Like that, it wouldn't bounce off anywhere. And you've got to take in, intent does come into it, and you've got to look 10 seconds before he's gone to smash Hector on the other side, and the ref played advantage. The ref seen it was a foul, but played advantage. That comes into it. Mane started that game way too fired up. I don't know if it's because him and Holding had a running battle at the Emirates and then in the Community Shield, or if he was just got so hyped up for the game in the warm-up or whatever. But intent does come into it, and for me, he's fully intended to hit Tierney hard there. Maybe not in the face. I don't think he's tried to do him, so to speak. But I think he's fully intended to sort of, you know how you say with defenders, leave your mark, let him know you're there. He's gone to do that, and he's hit him too high. And for me, it is a red, but as I said, I can see why it's not, and I've seen plenty of times with them given. More times than not, I think they're given as red cards, but then I have seen times when they're not given.
Yeah, I get you. I understand your point. You're kind of sitting on the fence, but you are leaning towards.
I'm absolutely not sitting on the fence. I think it's a red card.
Okay, cool, excellent. Addy, thoughts?
Echo what Tony said. For me, it was 100% a red card. Again, the main thing was what he did 10 seconds before Bellerin. He was fully hyped, and it showed that he actually didn't even know what he did, because after saying, "Oh no, shoulder to shoulder," and it was clearly never shoulder to shoulder because his arm was up there. And I'm telling you, if that was in the air and you caught someone with the elbow at the angle he went in at, it was definitely, for me, it was definitely a red, and I think they bottled it. And the linesman was right in front of the linesman as well. So again, like, I for me, again, straight red card. I was bemused that.
So that's two. That's two who say red. Okay. Jack.
I have to be honest, I don't even know why it has to be a debate. I mean, it was clear. I mean, people will say that it was early in the game and whatnot, but I don't really care. Like, you create an offence. Like, people could also say that he might not have hit him in the face or all of that argument. But at the end of the day, if the ball hits the part of just after your sleeve, it's a handball. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is the rule. If it looks like it, regardless whether he meant to do it or not, whether it was malicious, it doesn't really matter. He still swung out and hit him straight across the chin, and that isn't allowed in football. So, and the fact that he was even booked for it, they knew it was a foul. And if they, I mean, whether he's booked for that or the Bellerin challenges, regardless, it should have been reviewed. Like, he literally swung his arm across and whacked him in the chin. Like,
yeah, see, that's where I disagree a little bit. And if you look on
rugby,
if you look at a different angle, I don't think there's much in it. Like, you look at the front on angle, it looks bad from the back on angle.
Yeah, but how many tackles have we lost players for that look a lot like, for example, Aubameyang away at Palace last year? Was it a red card? Probably. However, in the angle they chose to stop, and when the ref looked at it, it was the worst possible angle. There can always be an angle where it looks better or worse, but the situation there, he still swung his arm when Tierney was a relative further distance away from him unnecessarily and struck him on the chin. It's a red card.
What I will say, just before you carry on, Tess, so what I will say is the one thing it can't be is a yellow card. Like, because
you see, he's given the yellow, so it should have been a more. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's one of them. If it's an elbow to the face, if it's a red card, and if you're just holding someone off, and the ref deems that you've done that too aggressively, then it's a foul and not a booking. Like, they give a foul every time someone held someone off. So for me, that's another reason it should have been reviewed. But as I said, having spoke to a guy who reads he reads the rules before he goes to bed. Like, he knows them inside out, so I'm not going to argue with him. Where they've made that slight tweak where the decision has to be so clearly wrong, and the fact that we're even debating this means that it wasn't so clearly wrong. So the ref shouldn't go, look, but for me, that's a nonsense rule. If there's any debate, it should be, ref, go and have a look at the screen. Had you seen it with this clarity, what would you have given? Because that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. But again, I come back to this every fucking week. The rules are the problem, and people are going to blame the refs. But the rules don't do the refs any favours at all.
Just hypothetically, though, if Mane didn't go on to score, Mane didn't go on to be the man of the match, and it's very hard to separate yourselves here. But would you still be thinking like that doesn't influence you, lads?
Well, it does. Look, if we're playing against 10 men for over 90 minutes, when you include stoppage time, of course it makes a huge difference. But on the performance that we saw 11v11, it's easy to say, the decisions don't matter, because they were so much better than us. It wasn't even close. Even if it finished 2-1, they were leagues ahead of us. Yeah. But of course it makes a difference. Like, this is similar to the argument I had with Darren last year. If you said to me at the start of the game, would you rather play Liverpool with 10 men and no Mane, or 11 men and Mane? What do you think the answer would be? I know this is where the whole crystal ball joke comes from, but let's be honest. If you say, actually, no, I want to play them with 11 and Mane, you're a fucking idiot.
The only reason I mention it, though, is because I noticed, look, okay, I'll be honest, the third minute, I wasn't thinking much about it. And I don't know, you lads might have been, Addy, you might have been as well, going, fuck, that should have been a red there and there. It wasn't until Mane had scored that I seen everybody blow up about the incident in the third minute. And I thought, okay. Nobody, like a few people mentioned it, but then it wasn't until he scored that people were going, he shouldn't have even been on the field. And I was like, okay.
Now, with me, I was, as soon as it happened, I was like, I was even thinking that it was going to go to VAR. That's how bad it was. I was like, oh, Mane, red card. But then, he didn't go. So I was like, psh, they didn't even actually review it. I was ready. Okay. I thought.
No, that's good. And you're being honest. But there was a lot of people who didn't say anything until he scored. And that's type of, I think even in our WhatsApp chat, it didn't really pop up until Mane, got the tap in, and I was like,
For me, if it was like a Wijnaldum, then that's the type of thing that happens. You kind of forget about it, and if they score, you go, fucking hell, shouldn't have been on the pitch, like Jorginho against Chelsea last year. But when it's someone like Mane, who, for me, is their best player, Van Dijk's got the argument, but for me, Mane is the second best player in the league. For me, the moment it happens, you just think, fuck me, this guy shouldn't be on the pitch. Even if he didn't score, like, he's going to be so important to the game, running channels, his hard work, his overall quality. I know what you're saying, and as I said with Jorginho, no one really cared at the time until he went on to get the winner. But with someone like Mane, or say if it was a De Bruyne at City, it's completely different.
Okay. Just to go through a few people in the chat. Frank AFC, he said red card. Archie, it was too early in the game. Should have been a red. Frice, is it? Frice got a red in Leicester City match for play that was clearly unintended. I didn't see that game, so.
I think that was it Eddie and Ketia? I got the.
Oh, is that? Oh, sorry, that's what he's saying. NK,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Eddie got a red in the Leicester game. Okay, I would not remember that. You boys might, but yeah. Okay, Addy, we go on. Mate, I'm confident here because Lacazette gets a goal, and what a fucking fumbled fucking thing it was. But hey, it goes in the back of the net and it counts, and Arsenal go up 1-0 in the 25th minute.
And then it just gave me memories of when went 1-0 up against Liverpool again. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles scored, and then 2 minutes later, right back to earth. Obviously, the move was the move that we were always looking to do, to try and hit Liverpool whilst they're trying to press and exploit the space in behind. That was the one time in the first half it worked. I can't remember. I can't think of many times it actually worked in the first half, but that was the actual time it worked. And we, to be fair, we had a bit of luck because Ainsley Maitland-Niles ball into the box was horrific. I actually don't know who it was passing to, whether it was Lacazette or trying to go to Willian. But then obviously we got the slice of luck from Robertson, and then again we got another slice of luck from Lacazette's finish, because again that finish was shite, but maybe it had to be shite to beat Alisson. But again, you take it goes in the net. But then that's where you call into question the mentality of the team and everything, because 3 minutes later, Liverpool got the equaliser from poor defending.
Yeah, 3 minutes later, my celebrations of running around with a shirt off, fucking screaming, "You fucking beauty, Lacazette! You fucking got a goal!" Yeah, it didn't last very long. And Jack, I'll let you go through the goal against us, mate.
So I think it was they were counted on. Our Salah got the ball. I can't remember if he shot at Leno or no. I think the ball got hit in the middle. Someone then drilled it to Leno. Leno then parried it towards his right, and Mane got a tap in. But people criticise Leno for this. I understand people are saying he should have caught it and all of this. When someone that close to you puts a shot with that much power in, you ain't gonna fucking catch it. So I understand he should have got better hand towards it, but I actually thought the save he made from the actual shot was a very good save. It was quite unlucky, I felt, that Mane was there for the follow-up. However, yes, on paper, a keeper shouldn't parry a ball into that sort of territory. But from that sort of close proximity, what else you kind of meant to do? It's a reflex. If it hits you, that's what you want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of people blowing up at Leno.
And this is
Tony. I'll get
very quick. This is one other thing, because you just reminded me. It's actually a joke how every single little thing Leno does is like investigated under a microscope and compared to Martinez. Like, literally, can people just shut up and back off fucking keeper? Martinez isn't at the club anymore.
I'm
Whether
going to
you're
touch
happy with
on
the decision
that.
or not, shut up and get on with it. You support a club, stop being a toxic prick for no reason.
I will touch on that. Tony, I'm going to get your thoughts on the goal before I get Addy to have a final word as a keeper. But, Tony, I did see a lot of people blaming Leno, and they thought that he should have at least done a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, first thing before we get to that, it's piss poor from Tierney. It's his worst game for us, I think, for worse that I can remember. He should have fouled. He kind of half went to foul Salah outside the box and then shit himself because they got in the box, which is fair enough. But just foul him properly outside the box. You're going to get your book in. It's fine. Then for me, and I know Addy's going to disagree with this, Leno has a problem with soft hands. He's always had it. And I agree with what Jack said. If Salah's shot goes in directly, no one moans at Leno. So he's kind of being punished for making the save. But once he's made that save, his soft hands absolutely kill him, because a keeper with hard, like for example, and I think Jordan Pickford is absolute shite. That ball will hit Jordan Pickford's hand and go 20 yards away because he's got hard hands, which a lot of the time is a negative because he spills absolutely everything. But in that situation, Leno has a habit of pushing things out and then not going far enough, or not going very far at all, or dropping. I mean, it was a yard away for the goal, but it's a problem Leno's always had, and it's something that can be worked on. And I don't know why it hasn't been, but yeah, it's one of them that is so unlucky, because if it goes directly in, no one blames him. And I'm not. This isn't like a hard blame where I'm going, oh, fucking absolutely Leno's fault. But these soft hands are a problem, and they have been pretty much since day one. I mean, you can look at quite a few goals where he's parried it weakly, or the amount of times he has to make double saves, and you go, oh, great double save. But the fact is, it's because the first one, his soft hands have spilt the ball either just in front of him or not too far away from him.
Can I just say though, just in fairness to Leno, he hasn't had as much time with that new keeper coach, and I presume that's something they could work on. Whether it's a new way of when the ball's that sort of angle, of a way of connecting with it, I'm sure that's something which the club are working on. Because to be fair, he hasn't actually made an error like that for quite a long time. Like
soft hands are a soft hand problem. The coach can fix it, but
the most high profile one I can think of is is probably the game against Spurs beginning of last
Tottenham at home was horrific. That was the worst example.
But then again, that was the last time I can really recall it happening, apart from the other day.
Look, and Tony touched on Pickford with his hard hands, and Leno with the soft hands. Like, you're going to get as many errors, I guess. And I'll get out his thoughts.
I would prefer soft hands, but the fact is, you shouldn't have either. You should be able to pick and use as and when. Yeah. So at times you need hard hands to push the ball away hard. At other times you need soft hands because you can hold the ball. It's one of the things you should choose in your moment. You shouldn't be 100% one or the other. It's not like you're right-footed or left-footed.
Yeah. Addy, I'll get your thoughts on this, mate. And the goal, and are we blaming Leno here?
Yes, you blame Leno, but then I understand Leno, because Leno was expecting a better shot, which is why I think he positioned himself like that. And I agree with Tony. He should have got stronger hands. Like, even on this weekend, one of my youth keepers didn't push the ball out wide, because it literally, and he just saved it and touched it out a bit, and then the opposition scored and tapped it in. And that was the issue here. Like, I feel that Leno thought that shot was going to come in much harder, much quicker, and then with his soft hands, it would have got enough of a deflection to actually take it up and wide, or taking it further away. But to be fair, Salah's shot was poor. It wasn't great, because it actually gave Leno a bigger chance to actually save it. And I don't think Leno expected that from Salah in that position. But yes, I do think that he over-anticipated, and because of the save he did make, it led to the goal. So he does have a part to blame. Again, would I blame him? Did I say, oh my gosh, Leno? No, I didn't. I didn't go like that.
I didn't either. I was like Tony. I was thinking, Tierney, what are you doing? Why didn't you need to, Salah's there. You need to sort that out.
That is it. And to be fair, it started from before Tierney, because you had your Xhaka. Initially, I thought it was a foul to us, but then I saw Xhaka was pulling back. I think it was Ronaldo that was in there. But then for me, there you get the yellow. You kill the game.
Yeah.
Ruthless.
And Tony's touched on this last season 4. Tony's always said, just take the foul. Like, if it stops, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but you're always an advocate of that.
My mates I go to games with get pissed off with me, because pretty much every time we haven't got the ball, all I say is foul him. Like, I stand at games going, foul him. Like, obviously not all the time, but when it's the same with, like, Luiz when Wijnaldum, when Addy's talking about with Xhaka, Luiz went into a 50-50 with him and then won the ball, and got a bit unlucky on the ricochet, and it went to Wijnaldum. But for me, Luiz should be going absolutely straight through him. worst case, you're going to give away a free kick. But because the ball there to be won, you're probably not even going to give a foul away, because you're going to get to the ball first and then wipe out everything. It's always used to be known as an invitation to tackle, where that ball's there and you can put a bit on it, like you can go absolutely straight through it because you're going to get the ball first. But again, that's where probably, I'm not even blaming him, but where he's too much of a footballer, he's gone to like play a pass out, whereas do you know what, Socrates would have kicked the ball, Wijnaldum and Xhaka into the River Mersey. Like, and this comes down to, and I say it on here all the time, that for me, most goals aren't one person's error. Like there's the glaring ones where you go, oh, fuck me, he's been a cunt. But in general, most goals are a bit of an error here, a bit of an error there. And you've got Xhaka, Luiz, KT and Leno. And I think on all of them, you can go, they played a part in conceding that goal.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking through the comments. Old mate Frank, he's not happy. Leno is hopeless. I think that's pretty...
Delusional.
I think that's very harsh, because then he says should have kept Martinez, and Jack, that echoes what you were saying, that fucking wake up to yourself, basically.
It's a joke. People forget Leno was probably our player of the season, bar Aubameyang, until he got injured last season.
100%.
Martinez is fresh in our minds. It's great. At the end of the day, if Martinez hadn't had that 10 run of games, we wouldn't have sold him for anything more than £2 million. Like, I like Martinez, but I just think people need to shut up with it. Like, it's done now.
On the flip side, we can't play like that with Leno, because he can't play the ball 30 yards to the fullback. If we're going to be playing, we've got to abandon playing out from the back like that.
Yeah,
because it's a skill set that he doesn't have.
No, exactly. And my biggest worry, every time he fucking got the ball and played from out the back, I was absolutely shitting myself, because Mane and Salah are so quick, and it's just, pick the ball up and boot the fucking thing way up the field, because playing out from the back is not your style.
It's not that. He can pass the ball short, but for me, I said this in the chat last night, every day I'd get him half his training at least, just clipping the ball 40 yards to the fullback, because it takes off so much pressure, and he can't do it. We've seen throughout time he can't do it. He tried it once yesterday. He tried to clip it wide to Tierney, and it ended up in the River Mersey, I think. But do you know how much pressure that one ball takes off? Because then if you can start doing that, then Trent has to push a bit further forward. So then you can either go direct to Aubameyang, or you put the 50-50 up for Tierney and Trent. And if Tierney wins it, you've got like 5-on-3 now. That one ball changes so much, and he's just never been able to do it. And I'm like, what do you train? Like, what are these guys doing every day? Just learn that one pass off both feet. Like, the thing is, he's a good shot stopper, so I couldn't care less if he didn't save a shot in training for the next month. Just kick the fucking ball to the fullback.
Okay, we're going half time, 2-1 down, and I'm thinking to myself, Arteta's going to change a few things.
You've missed their second goal.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, go on, Addy, go on. No, I did the second, didn't I?
Second goal.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Yes, okay. Liverpool, 34th minute. Go on, Addy. Robertson.
Man. Again, pulling out my hair. Again, I think I was reading in the group, someone was blaming Bellerin. Yeah, I blame Bellerin. I blame Holding, because again, that communication, Holding should have got taken Mane. So, but then Bellerin got dragged in to take Mane, to follow Mane's run. Now, even if he didn't go for him, Willian should have been on Robertson. And again, it's just that lack of communication. You see, Willian was like, trying to run and get back in, but then, to be fair, once we missed the header, no one got the header. It was all lost. And again, as a keeper, I'm blaming. I have to look at Leno as well, because Leno should have been, hey, you guys, cool. Ball's on the left. He should be scanning to say, all right, who's got Robertson? Oh, Willian, get back, or Bellerin on Holding. But then nobody looks to check their shoulder. Nobody communicated, and that's the story about Arsenal. Like, we don't really have any leaders. You don't actually have the guys, your Tony Adams, your Colo Torre, Sol Campbell, Steve Bowles, like, hey guys, yeah, get your man. Oh, checking my shoulders. Oh, and again, like simple defending, open body stance to actually see the ball and your man. None of that. Everybody was just facing one direction, and it's like,
was
again,
that the little that goal? That was the little 1-2, wasn't it?
was that the 1-2? That's the one. No, I think it.
No,
that
the
was
cross.
It was a
It was a
cross,
cross.
was it?
Yeah, it was a cross. I think it broke up and then it broke to
Oh,
Trent, and Trent just whipped in.
oh yeah. Trent, because he got the assist, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expected to have a bigger argument with Addy on this one, and I'm not gonna. No, because I've seen a lot of people blame Holding like hard, and I was like, he's probably the one person who, for me, gets away with it, because we know we even on crosses we mark zonally. Like, I know people only talk about it set pieces, but we know what we do. People take areas. And Hector's followed Mane. He's not passed him on. And anyone that's ever played knows you pass the man on. You do not follow him into another zone. Holding, then someone's going, he should have won the header anyway. Hector's body stops him from jumping. Hector is a blocker, like, at that point. So Hector's got to tell him. Hector's got to stay and leave it, stay at the back post. And then, damn right, it's Williams' fault. Like, and he knew it. I obviously not at a great level. I played on the wing. Williams' run after, he made a recovery run to tackle Robertson just after. That tells you everything you need to know, that he knows it's his fault. Because you don't make a lung-busting run like that, like a hard run, unless you know it was your fault 10 seconds before. But yeah, the communication's poor. I just think people don't really like Holding, and I've seen picking on him because he was there. But to be honest, I think he's the least at fault out of everyone. And Leno, not really much of blame for me. And again, maybe it's a criticism of his game. He's not the most vocal keeper, and it just is what it is. That's an attribute you've got to get used to.
It's just a bit of a mess, isn't it? Like, we're looking last week, and I'm thinking, like, Arteta's, and I know we're gonna find gaps, we're gonna find holes, and teams are going to find weaknesses, because that's what the game's all about. But I thought we had been looking a little bit better, or a lot better defensively, tactically, and then this week I'm like, it's just little errors that in the defence that have crept back in, and people are blaming Leno a lot, and for me, I can't. Look. You got to look at the four blokes in front of him. Like, I'd hate to be a fucking goalkeeper for Arsenal. I'm telling you, like, it'd be the hardest job in any game, in any team.
What I will say though is Liverpool were fantastic, especially in the first half.
But you should expect that, Tony. They're
but when we're coming down to micro mistakes, and if that's you saying, you thought our defense had improved. When we're playing against a team that play that well and it's micro mistakes that cost us, for me, that's a sign our defense has improved. Because last season, I know people say, it was the same result last season. Trust me, I was at that game last season. If they played like that, it would have been about 87-0, or we might have nicked one on the counter-attack.
Yeah, but then that's where again now, last season, we were more of a threat against Liverpool than we were yesterday. Yesterday, literally, it was attack versus defense. We didn't and this is why I was frustrated. Because Leeds versus Liverpool, first game of the season. Again, maybe it was Liverpool not up to speed yet or anything like that. But there is a way that you can actually attack Liverpool. There is a way. Maybe Leeds is as drilled in Bielsa's way of playing football. They may not have as technically gifted players as we do, but they may, people they've played in that way for so long, so they could actually play against Liverpool. But even from Emery's match against Liverpool last year, we could see there is a template of how you could beat them. And yesterday, just to be fair, not even just yesterday, last week, obviously I wasn't here last week to like make some noise about this, but we looked poor yesterday, we looked poor last week, and I was actually scared that we would actually bring that form into this week. And unfortunately, I think we did carry that form of not being able to break down teams and just being slow and making sloppy mistakes, and it was poor. And I think the tactics that Arteta put out yesterday wasn't the right thing. And again, the day before, you had Leicester versus Man City. Leicester played a counter-attacking football to a T. That was a perfect display of counter-attacking football, and they scored 5 goals from it. But then,
look, I said, I think I said that we were always going to get beat against Liverpool last week, 4-1 or 3-1 or something. But you know, I'm watching that game and I'm thinking, hang on, maybe I was a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't have, gone down that path, because we have beat them the last 2 games prior to this one.
but then the last 2 games, let's take out Community Shield. The game at the Emirates, Liverpool had how many shots again at goal? Like, Martinez had a worldie of the game. Like, we can't keep relying on people having worldies of the game. Like, Liverpool are a much better team. Again, I would have gone 3-1, 4-1 to Liverpool. But then it's how we turn up to the game. What we actually want to do, because Arteta was like, yeah, cool, we want to actually win this game. At no point did I feel we were set up to actually go out and win that game. At no point.
I'm hearing you, and a lot of other people are saying the same thing. And Frank, I wonder whether you're even a fucking Arsenal fan. Liverpool are a good team; they were always going to win. Like, come on, mate, fucking pull your head in, you stupid cunt. Frice, is it? I was crying when I saw Luiz in for Gabriel and Saka wasn't on the field. I hadn't touched on this at the lineup, but that was another one that I thought, Gabriel. Where is Gabriel? And probably the other thing I'm thinking is I want to eventually see Saliba, but that was a big game for Saliba if he was going to come in, and that'd probably smash his confidence as well. So, okay, let's move on. So obviously, yeah, we go into half time. We're down 2-1. I'm thinking changes drastically need to be made. Especially in the midfield. Like, most people here will know that, yeah, look, I'm a Granite fan. However, it was not the game for Granit Xhaka. And El Neni, we were so slow in the midfield. It was ridiculous. Look, we were overrun in the midfields. And I don't know what you do to change it. Okay, you bring on Ceballos, yeah. Then you've got El Neni Ceballos, which Arteta went, or do you go Granit and Ceballos? Like, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to fucking do. Tony?
He made the wrong sub. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't surprised he didn't change at halftime, because he tried to make us a bit more front foot with the players we had on the pitch. And I think that's fair enough. If you're going to change it, give the players that are currently up to the speed of the game a chance. And then I think it was 15 or so minutes in, after we had looked a bit better but not damaged them really, he made the change. But El Neni's a problem because he hides, and I've said this since day one of El Neni being an Arsenal player. You cannot play out from the back in a team with him in it, because if he happens to be in space, you can give him the ball and he won't lose it in general. But he'll play a safe ball, 90% ball, no problem. But he never makes the space for himself. So there was so many times where, like, Holding, especially on that side, I thought he made Holding look terrible, because Holding would have the ball and El Neni stands behind someone and he'll start waving his arms. So it looks like he's an option, but unless you can kick the ball through their player, he's not on. So now you've automatically got 10 men. Like, he does it all the time, and he's always done it. He makes himself look like an option while not actually being an option. And then when he does get the ball, if you somehow manage to magic the ball into him, he doesn't play forward anyway. Like, people can moan about Granit, and he obviously did lose the ball a couple of times, but the first goal, well, our only goal, comes from him rattling a ball through the midfield, and then Lacazette knocks it wide, and that's where the goal comes from. But El Neni would have played that ball out wide to Hector, or back inside to hold in and kept us under pressure. For me, Ceballos had to come on, but it was the wrong side, especially with how well Granit and Danny have played together, like just in general.
Yeah. That's where I was like umming and ahhing, and then I heard Addy talking today or this morning, half an hour ago, I should say, is if he could have changed things, he wouldn't have played 5 at the back. So I'm thinking, what, Addy, you got Ceballos, Granit, Elneny in the mids, and then I'm wondering whether, all this stuff's going through my head at the time that you were talking, and I'm thinking, I don't know if that would be any better too, because the problem I see is our midfields are weak. Like, Elneny would be flat out getting a start for Southampton. Like Ceballos, don't get me wrong, I like Ceballos. People know I like Granit, but you've got to have the right ingredients to go with them two lads.
But the whole time we've played a back 5, they were our 2. I disagree with Addy. I would have changed quite a bit about what we've done yesterday, but I would have kept a back 5. But when every game I think we've won with a back 5, barring maybe the Liverpool game at home, when, as Addy said, they battered us and we got basically lucky. A keeper had a worldie and they made 2 mistakes. But I think every game we've won with a back 5, barring that, the centre midfield has been Xhaka and Ceballos. So that's what works. Like,
yeah, I'm hearing you.
It was a real strange decision to not start them. And you can maybe argue fitness, Ceballos isn't up to shape, or because it was the first time he played in a while against West Ham when he wasn't the best. I know he got the game-winning assist, but maybe that took his toll out of him or whatever. But then when he made the sub and it was Granit, I was really shocked because at that point you're 2-1 down, so you're chasing the game. I don't know what Elneny gives you. You can't play out from the back from him.
Well, he doesn't give you anything. Nah, and that's the. It was a
defense splitting pass or line breaking pass. He's not going to play the long diagonals. I think at that point, what is the reason he's on the pitch? And the only thing
might have changed our shape a bit, Tony.
I mean, he just hasn't the whole time he's there. So I mean, Arteta hasn't, even in games when we've been chasing him. He's kept the back 5. He shuffled personnel a bit. So I don't think we can match Liverpool up for shape. I think the reason William played is to tuck in to try and match them 3 for 3 in the middle but stay with a back 5. But I wasn't surprised. I don't understand the relevance of Elneny, especially at 2-1 down with whatever there was 20-25 to go.
Yeah. Addy, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I would have gone more like a 4-5-1, but then again, I just feel that Elneny shouldn't have been on the pitch for me, and Arteta is like spiting his face just so he can like not keep players. With me, I would have put Gondowski in there. Right, because again,
poor bastard's not he's fucking going on.
That's it. Like, I'd rather have Gondowski than Elneny. Like for.
And this is my little bit of a problem, and I haven't mentioned too much about it, but this is my problem at the moment. Okay, some shit is going on at Arsenal. Guendouzi cannot get a sniff in this first team. I don't know what Ozil's done. He must have shagged Arteta's wife or fucking something, but he can't get a fucking start. And here we are, and okay, Tony, I get your point totally, right? Liverpool are a superior team, and how you come against the Liverpool is you've got to put your best man on the field. But here we are talking about Elneny, Ceballos, Granit, but yet we've got fucking Ceballos, Guendouzi and Ozil sitting at home. Are we going out to fucking win these games, or it's like Arteta's pride has got in the way of results a little bit.
Jack, just before you comment, I just wanted to say, just to your point, is that this is the thing, yeah. Cool, everyone knows I love Ozil, but even if you don't play Ozil, you already know what you're gonna get from Guendouzi. Like he'll run, he can pass forward. You already know minimum you're going to get that from Guendouzi.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm not saying we're going to go out and win with a Guendouzi, because Guendouzi's, like I've always said, like a headless fucking chicken. But he's better than an Elneny.
100%.
So I can't. Anyway, it does. It seems like pride is getting in the way a little bit. And anyway, go on, Jack.
What I'd be interested to see is if Guendouzi and or Ozil didn't leave this window, I'd be interested to see if he reattempts to integrate them even partially back into the team or not. Because I can understand why they wouldn't now, but obviously then you're kind of stuck with them for at least 3 or so months until the window reopens again. So on that respect, yeah. But then even that, like our midfield issues, according to the press, should be over in the next couple of days, anyways. So
Well,
I don't
what
really
have we
know how
done?
much
What
of
have
an
we
issue it
done?
really is.
What has Guendouzi and Ozil done so wrong? Like, okay, Guendouzi carried on like a fucking kid, grabbed that bloke around the throat. I get that. Punish him. Move the fuck on. But like, it's almost like these blokes have stolen a loaf of bread and got fucking shipped off to Australia. Like, you know what
Well,
I mean?
I-
Like,
insane.
fuck.
I
why would-
agree. I agree with Arteta on the Guendouzi thing because they've had a falling out. He's told him to apologise, and he said no. Like you can't if someone undermines the manager and gets away with it, then everyone does it. And that was half the problem with Emery. Like as much as I was calling for Ozil to come back in, as much as anyone, he's bombed him off, and then the results get bad, and suddenly he goes running and crying back, Mesut, come and help us out. We need a proper footballer. Now Emery has lost the dressing room. From that day, the players thought, I can do what I want because if I'm good enough, he needs me. I completely agree with Arteta over Guendouzi. The Ozil situation we don't know.
But this is the thing. This is why I always come back with the Conte thing. Conte and Diego Costa hated each other, but Conte knew Diego Costa is my best striker. I want to win the league, and then when the season's up, you can go. I don't need you anymore. But he's not
Exactly. He's
not
going
to say, oh, you know what? You didn't listen to me. You wanted to go to China, and I blocked your move, and you hated me. And we had so many heated debates. I'm not going to say, you know what? You told me to fuck off. You know what? No, you're not going to play. No, he's not going to do that. He's not going to say, you know what? I don't mind if we lose him. We don't have a great striker, and Diego Costa is not even going to be in the squad. He's going to train with the youth team until he leaves. He's not going to do that. I'm going to win this bloody league.
You even sent him a
I
text
can play
message.
the fuck. That's
Sent him,
it.
sent him a text and said you're out, as reports go. But like, I like Arteta. I like what he's brought into Arsenal. So don't think that this is a Arteta out agenda here, right? It's far from that. But I just don't want pride to get in the way of results. And when I see El Neni starting, nothing against El Neni because at the end of the day, he had been good. Like, you know, the last couple of games he had been good. But you're coming up against the Liverpool team. But then Guendouzi's probably not match fit. Ozil's not match fit. But then, hey, 3 weeks ago, you start getting these blokes match fit. So,
We had a League Cup match midweek to get them.
None of them played. So, you know,
I
things
think
like that.
Tony mentioned, I think, was it not after the first match, you mentioned you were waiting to see if they were gonna be involved in the League Cup match.
Yeah, I said if they don't play, I don't think they ever play again. Look, Jack was just talking about the squad and whatnot. As we sit here now, obviously I don't know what's going to change, but when we've heard the rumours in the press and whatnot, I don't think Ozil is named in our squad. We've got 17 places for non-homegrown players. I don't think Ozil makes the squad.
Okay.
For me, he does. I mean, I don't think he will be in the squad that's submitted.
Can I tell you how I look at it, right? I think that on the basis that we spent £1.5 million on Runnison, who is not homegrown, I think the club must have either a plan up their sleeve or are confident of shipping out the necessary players for that quota, because you wouldn't spend £1 million on someone to take up that role. Worst case, you'd loan someone for a year or do what teams like Spurs have done with Joe Hart and shit like that. It wouldn't surprise me if we did that with Ozil, but I don't think we would unless it was a complete necessity. Like if it meant we couldn't bring a player in because of the space or something, then maybe. But then I could see them releasing like a Socrates rather than doing that to Ozil, because I just don't think they not put him in the squad and still pay him the money. There's no way. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is,
worst case he's there.
if the two we expect to come in do, then you have to lose. Just releasing, so you have to lose 4. Like, so just releasing Socrates, which I think they
No,
will
we
do
don't.
anyway. Isn't? Yes, we do.
We're one ahead. Are we one over now?
Thought it was 2.
Oh,
Wait,
is it
you bring
2?
2 in, you've got to lose.
While you boys are
you've got to
doing your
lose 3.
maths, Halls of Marbles says, did anyone seriously reckon we'd win? He says they are a better side and we got beaten. That's that. We didn't get humiliated. I totally get what you mean, but if that's your attitude, well, hey,
There's
why
no point
do we
in football.
fucking what exactly? Why do I get up at fucking fuck knows what time of the day to watch them? So at the end of the day, like, no, I get up every fucking week and I watch Arsenal play every week. Like, I watch a lot of football and I think I'm here, we're going to fucking win. I don't get up and think, oh, we're going to lose. If that's the point, why fucking watch? What? Might as well fucking go and watch something else. Go, Addy.
Sorry, just on that. Because obviously my logic is, I see Leeds play Liverpool. Okay, you know what? Leeds did this. Okay, this might work against Liverpool. So obviously I'm thinking Arsenal, video analysis, all this analysis. Okay, cool. There's certain things we can do to try and get at Liverpool. And we don't do any of that. We don't do none of that. We don't think, you know what, okay, let's try and get Aubameyang. They're gonna play a high line. How do we get the ball into positions where we can turn them to get Aubameyang in? Or
playing a pacey front three.
That's it. And it's like we don't do any of that. Like we don't actually try that. And that's the thing. Against Liverpool, you need to say, okay, how do we nullify their strengths, and then how can we exploit their weaknesses? We didn't. I don't think we actually thought, how do we exploit their weakness? We've got Aubameyang, we've got Pepe. Like we can play Nketiah as well. Let's exploit their weakness to see if we can get some joy. But
I'm going to quickly move forward. So obviously, yeah, they get another goal. It ends up 3-1.
Whoa, wait. You can't skip over. No. You cannot skip over the miss. You just can't do it.
Go on. You talk. It is.
Again,
Can you controversially say both misses?
Both. I was going to say
the
there's
first
2
one,
misses, I'm sure.
Well, you know, but I'm going to come on to it. The first one, I don't care about the miss, but don't fuck about, because it's a rehearsal. It's practice. In football, you're never going to get that kind of practice. Like, you can do them finishes in training, but you're never going to get that practice against Alisson again. So when he knew he was offside, so he's fucked about. But pull it in or try score and see how Alisson reacts. See if he goes early or goes late. Where he's done nothing and tried to just dink it into his hands. Now he's get that chance a minute later, and he's not got any reading on what Alisson's going to do. And I actually think he done all right in terms of his total performance. And forget the goal, because it was as lucky as you're going to get. But he gave them hassle. He linked the play in the midfield and then got himself in the area, which is my biggest criticism of him. And he didn't do that yesterday. He was good. But he's just not a stone cold finisher. And that's always going to be my issue with a number 9. Like, for me, a number 9 is the ball goes through and you think more reasonably than not they're going to score. The shot he got off was poor. For me, he should have hit it first time and just wrapped it around the keeper anyway. But I don't think any Arsenal fan stood there when he was slid in and went, goal. Like, your automatic thought isn't goal. It's, oh, come on, please score. Like, you're begging him, please score. Whereas Aubameyang goes through there and he might not score, but your automatic thought is, yep, goal 2-2. Not please. Like, just...
Yeah, it was very poor. And you know, if it was you have to criticise it. And this is the problem, you know, with Lacazette that I have as well, is he you know, we talked about him. He drops back deep. He runs and finds a ball. He's not finding the holes where I want him to be. You know, you watch other strikers and they're floating around, ready to run the holes and whatnot, ready to run the long balls. And you know, David Luiz, fucking that long ball that he did. But anyway, but
I think Lacazette was a bit unlucky yesterday in that he dropped short, and what's supposed to happen is the centre back comes with him, and then the wingers running behind to that gap left. The issue is our midfield and Willian were so shit that when Lacazette came short, the centre backs didn't go with him. They just said, Fabinho, your job. So then, even if he does win the ball and spin it wide or whatever, which he done a load of times, they still have a back four intact. This is.
I'm not blaming. I'll be honest. Like Lacazette, that miss, could have put us 2-2. I'm not bringing that whole loss though down on Lacazette. For me, that loss yesterday stems in the midfields, and there. I'll let Addy talk in a minute as well, because Lacazette was, you could say, poor. Willian, he was poor. Aubameyang was poor. Them three lads were not getting the ball from an El Neni and Granit.
But yeah, I'm not putting the whole blame on the loss for him. But you're a £50 million number 9. If you get a 1-on-1 in a big game away when there's one goal in it,
you want him
to
fucking
score.
Yeah.
No, I don't want him to score. I expect
you need to score. Yeah.
As I said, how many of us, hand on heart, saw it Ceballos sliding through and went, yes, 2-2. Absolutely fucking no one.
Yeah. No, I agree. Addy, your thoughts?
I thought Alisson did well. Alisson, again, off his line, quick.
But then
why should
Laka then think to take a touch? You should know that Alisson's that quick off his line. You should literally stick power on it and stick it low and hope it gets past him.
Yeah. No, and to be fair, agreed. And even I could see what Lacazette, because I got that chance again. Yeah, Lacazette was thinking. He saw Alisson come out. He was thinking, could I actually take it round him? But then again, his touch was
I'm not trying to
so
compare
poor.
myself in any shape or form to Alex Lacazette, but my footballing experience is as an attacking player, normally up front, simply due to the fact that I don't have the greatest of stamina. But from every match situation I've ever been in, if you're in that situation, you shoot. You don't dick about. You don't try to take around the keeper. As soon as you see the keeper's even making a play towards you, if it was me, I probably, as soon as I got closest to the ball, I probably would have taken it first time and gone into the corner. Or you try and place it into the right side, or you drill it on the left. Because I'm sorry, but you're not gonna, like, some little dickhead chip isn't gonna do it, especially to a keeper who's as agile as Alisson. So, I mean, look, no one can move as fast as the ball. So use that to the advantage against the keeper, rather than try and slow down the pace of the ball and try and take him on 1-on-1. Because realistically, against a top keeper like that, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I agree with you. I think his decision making and finishing, the whole everything about it was just poor. But then again, that's where you'd say to yourself, why isn't Aubameyang in that position? Would I have wanted Aubameyang in that position over Lacazette? 100%. But then,
yeah, I would have. I think, like, and there's talks about Zaha and different things like that. I'm to a point now, and I thought I seen it in one of the comments here. I'm to a point now where, you know what, I'm happy to ship Lacazette out if we get our 30 mil for Lacazette. I might have been in the WhatsApp group. Someone asked me if Rome was interested, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, happily take him at Rome every day of the week. Arsenal, on the other hand, I want Aubameyang to move in the middle. I want another winger.
But can I just say on that, right? So let's say, look, this is the advantage that sort of thing would do for us, right? Because I'd say there's only a handful of, I'd say maximum 8 or so players in the league where defenders will always try and put 2-man on him simply to stop him breaking free or using his pace or whatnot. One of them is Pepe, right? So naturally, when you start Pepe, teams shit themselves and they put 2 defenders on Pepe to mark him, to stop him getting a free flow ball and stop him taking the man on. Another one of those players, obviously Aubameyang, being the lethal pacey striker he is, and another one is obviously Zaha. So in theory, if you played a front three of Pepe or Zaha, let's say that 2-man go try and mark Zaha, then you've got Aubameyang and Pepe free. If they try and sort Pepe out, then you've got them free. So no matter who they try and defend against, you're then going to have somebody just as fast, wide open. So even if you're playing a 4-3-3, you can still, with being creative and be able, let's say, for example, that it all goes to plan, although this will probably sound like an Arsenal fan's wet dream. Aouar's on the ball in the middle of the, I'd say between the touchline and the edge of and the box we're attacking. He has two-man doubling up on Pepe, so he has two options of a through ball, either to Zaha or Aubameyang, the pass through on goal, or Zaha who can then cut it back. And Lacazette doesn't give us any mobility like that at all, because it's great having him who can hold up. But the fact is that in modern football, whether you're playing with a 5 at the back or even a 4-3-3, you need people out wide and up front who can break and can make that difference.
You've been watching repeats of Neymar, Messi, and Louis, haven't you?
No, not at all. Not at all. But it's true, because if you think
it is, and Barcelona have done it.
Right? And people they start to cuss Pepe because he made two bad he made two bad balls from corners. Give it a rest. You can't expect him to do amazing every couple of weeks. I mean, Arteta's literally said that he's going to be a massive part of the future of our club, and he just needs to get that consistency up and everything. People should back Arteta when he says that, because if it wasn't the case, he wouldn't say it. And B, Raheem Sterling is a prime example of an inconsistent winger who became fucking world-class under Arteta. And Arteta, as showed in their documentary, is the catalyst for that improvement from Sterling.
But Sterling played every single week. That is the only...
Yeah, but that's what it's saying in training. As long as he's got consistency from Pepe, but that's the point, then he'll integrate him in again. At the end of the day, Willian is not good enough to be starting right wing. He's too slow. It does not help. We have no pace on the attack. So if you, in theory, that
2 weeks ago, we were saying it's Willian's position to lose, so he's lost it now.
I wasn't. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you need to have the sort of quality up top, and pace. Unfortunately, for the people who love beautiful football, pace is the way forward these days. Pace is. Look,
I hear what you're saying, and like every Arsenal fan, we all want a shiny new toy. I however think we need to fix our midfields first.
For sure.
If we get rid of Lacazette, I want Aubameyang in.
If we were to sign Partey and Aouar and no Zaha, we would still, in my opinion, probably walk top 4. I think even if we didn't get them under Arteta, we could still probably scrape it.
Is Partey as good as everyone's saying?
If they were to bring them to and Zaha, we can challenge for a title. Not win it, but we can challenge and be up there and maybe come second. And I mean that because everyone else looks shaky around us, and we do look the most structured team out of everyone, bar Liverpool.
Is Partey as good as everyone's saying?
Yes.
Okay.
All you've got to do...
I watch him on YouTube, but I watched a few YouTube.
Rewatch the game at Anfield this year in the Champions League when...
I did see that. Time. But one game, like...
No, but I'm saying that's a prime Partey game. Like, that's what he does. It's the best example of how he plays.
Because Guendouzi looked good one game last season, but that's,
in my opinion, Partey, if he didn't have a release clause, is easily an £80 million midfielder. Okay. He's a modern day, and I'm not trying to hype him up to this because obviously people have to adapt to a league, and obviously it's if he comes. But in my opinion, he's a modern day example of a sort of that Vieira, Gilberto, like a hybrid between the two.
Okay, well, let me get through.
Wow, someone got gassed.
Comments.
A hybrid of Vieira and Gilberto,
Not a hybrid of them in terms of his physicality.
Whoa, calm. Like, no. The guy's good, but...
I'm not. I did say not as good. I mean, like, in terms of how he plays, he is that mix of the two of them, which is something we've lacked at so many minutes. He's not as good, but I'm saying he has that stature, he has that physicality, but he can also play that ball. Okay,
let me go through these comments. These great people have dropped in. Marbles, Halls of Marble TV, Marbles Halls TV, whatever your fucking name is. Partey is the best box-to-box centre mid out there. There you go. Okay. He also says Zaha would be redundant. Gabby and Saka, even Willian, are pacey.
But can I just say I disagree with that as well, because I mean, look, essentially, because Arteta's only been in the job for under a year, you have to say that if you were to make a guess of how he wants to play and how he wants to squad, you have to liken it to City, right? Man City have a situation where they could basically swap and change their wingers and their midfielders every single week, and it doesn't really change shit. So, and especially on the basis we've got to play in the Europa League, still the Carabao Cup, obviously that could change this week, the League and the FA Cup. There's nothing wrong in having, though, the man option. I mean, Saka, if Kolasinac goes, realistically, Saka will either be playing as a left wing back or a left back. So he may not necessarily be used as a left winger if we don't side a replacement left back for Kolasinac. And on top of that, you've got Martinelli, who's injured until December to January. And then equally, let's say, for example, we sold Lacazette, then Martinelli would likely to be promoted to a striker anyways. It means that we have a load of options who can all be used in versatile attacking wide positions who are capable of changing it. I mean, and also even And even if you were to swap and choose the players, let's say for a main starting lineup, Aouar is Arteta's De Bruyne. Partey is there, bit more of like like they're more of their base. Then you've also got Xhaka there as well, or Ceballos, depending on who you choose by the week. You really can put it in a situation where the squad, although it may not be as expensive as City squad, it has a lot of the same characteristics if we were to sign someone like Zaha as well, because it means we would have that many options in more or less every position on the pitch.
Okay. Where are we? Jack says, I'm just going through the comments. If doesn't play in Carabao Cup, how does he play in the Premier League? We were talking about Guendouzi at the time, I guess, and Ozil. Jack also says Lacazette sees his names in the lights and chips it into his hands.
I mean, we all kind of agreed that he knew it was offside, so I don't really think he saw his name in the lights.
Our season dependent on results. Marble Halls TV says our season isn't dependent on results at Anfield. League football is paced over 38 games. If our aims are top four, our EL, this doesn't undermine that. I agree with what you're saying. And it doesn't come down to just that one game, but that is that one game that we all bend over and get fucked up the arse if we do lose. So I totally understand what you're saying. And Tony also says that, it's not one on these big games, the big six and whatnot. We can still technically make top four. So
can I just say, and I may be completely wrong here, but it's what my dad and stuff has told me about back when he was younger. Back in the day when the table was posted like in the newspaper at the end of every week, for the first 5-6 weeks of the season, they wouldn't even post a table because that's how little the games mean in terms of scope of the season, because they're not a very good representation of the season because it's that early on in the season. Like, I
don't even think they post them over here.
Even if you're a Spurs fan losing to Everton, or a Chelsea fan being 3-0 down to West Brom, United losing to Palace, realistically, not one game in your first, even up to your first 10, categorize your whole season how it's going to go, because what the first 10 games are there for, in my opinion, is to build your momentum up and then also to learn from your mistakes. Like, there's a reason the window ends 3 or 4 games in, because it gives you that time to reassess and like after you started playing again. I mean, that's also why they put it back to that date. At the end of the day, the fact that in my opinion, we got Liverpool out early, we've also got City away early. If anything, I think helps our season, even if we were to lose both of the games, because at the end of the day, it means when you're picking up points, it means you can still grow that momentum in a way where when you're later on in the season, when every single point counts more so than it does now in the extent of how everyone around you, if it's like a fight for a position, you want to be able to steamroll on then. So you'd rather make mistakes earlier in the season or even get these big results, because then you can like restructure. But then on the flip side, if you get the win, that helps you to build momentum to then plow on to then get the points further end of the season anyways. So the point is, the first part of the season is always a learning curve, and anyone who rules their team out of anything in the first like 6-7 weeks, in my opinion, it's stupid.
Thoughts of Jack every week right here. I can't say I could argue with you until the cows come home, but I'm going to move on. I agree with some of your things you say. That Fry says that 3-4-3 was giveaway to Liverpool. I thought we would 4-1-2-3, Addy. That was in regards to you. Jack says William may as well be a lawnmower. He just cuts grass yesterday. Look, let's wrap up this game quickly because we have waffled on for an hour and 15 minutes and we haven't even got into questions and stuff. So obviously, yeah, Liverpool get another one, Tony, and the game ends in 3-1, and then we've got to do our 3-2-1 as well. Where do you want to take it from here, mate?
Well, I want to hear people's opinions, because as the goal went in, I got pissed off and went for a piss because I needed to go. Was it handball? So I've seen still images and it looks like as handball as you're ever going to get, but still images can make a lot of things look like a lot of things. So I don't know the answer to this. I'm asking people's opinions. Was it handball? And I don't mean, do they think it should be? I mean, by the current rules, is it handball? Because the still images, it makes it look like he was playing basketball and he dribbled it down the pitch and crossed over a couple of times for his legs. Was it handball?
But
Okay,
yeah,
drop
because
your comments
Tony, if you
in.
think about it, when VAR works, it looks upon it in still images. So if they slow it down to that tiny millisecond even to
Yeah, but
see
they look
they
from
do.
where the ball
different
bounces
they
off.
look from different angles. I've seen one angle where the ball was just in front of his arm, but it could have been like you see how TV shows are made now with social distancing. Someone's 2 meters away, but it makes it look like they're kissing because of the angles they get. So all I'm saying is I'm not saying it didn't hit his arm. I've not seen it. I'm just saying I've seen one angle that doesn't tell me a thing because you could reverse that angle and the ball might have been 6 foot away from him. So
I just don't
all I'm
understand why it
asking,
wasn't even checked.
it was checked. All goals are checked.
Yeah, let's check. Let's check. Anyway, look, drop your comments in. We'll wait because they'll take about 30, 40 seconds to come through. Until that happens, Tony, we'll get your 3, 2, 1, mate. And I know it is very hard. Jack, get your pen and paper out.
I got it.
Tony, give us your 3 first.
I don't care that he only played 20 or 25 minutes. I've got to go Danny for the 3.
Yeah.
Okay, Addy, you agree? Yep.
100%.
Yep. Jack?
Agreed.
Yeah, okay, I agree as well. Fucking hell, I hate doing this. Tony, 2?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know. How do you? I thought about this actually. I often never thought about this, right? And somebody asked me, like you guys are fucking having a sook again because you spent, and he was a Tottenham fan, having a whinge about Pepe. You know, you spent all this money on your flashy winger. I said, did you ever watch the game? I said, he didn't even fucking start, you imbecile. Anyway, long story short, sorry, I got a phone call coming from now. Pepe. I was like, where was I saying? Oh, yeah. And I looking at the players and I'm going, well, Aubameyang didn't play well. William didn't play well. Maitland-Niles didn't have a great game. Granit didn't have El Neni. Hector, Tierney. I'm like, how the fuck do I do a 3-2-1 in this game?
Yeah, so I know my 2 and 1, and I'm not saying they were fantastic, but I don't know what order to put. Well, actually, I do. David Luiz 2, Rob Holding 1, because their aim is to keep. I mean, Firmino didn't have a sniff. Salah and Mane weren't really in the game as much as we'd expect them to be when you go to Anfield. I'm not saying either of them were great. The reason I'm going Luiz over Holding is because Luiz played quite a few good long balls, and that's what you need to do when you're playing that style we decided to play. So yeah, they're my 2 and my 1, and I've jumped ahead. But I mean, no one's going to have any great reason to give their 2 and a 1. So
yeah,
there you go.
I honestly really struggle. I'm still fucking struggling. Look, I probably have to give 2 to a Lacazette, a terrible miss, but he did get a goal that made things not be a 3-0. But then do you do it to Aubameyang because he, I don't know. Fuck if I know. Go, Addy.
Addy, you're muted, so we can see your hands flying everywhere, but not words.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'd probably go Lacazette and I don't know who else was there. I don't think anyone played yesterday.
It's hard, isn't it? And then you'd say Leno. Who was on the bench? Who came on the bench? Eddie came on.
Eddie came on. Yeah, Eddie Pepe.
Fuck.
1. You know what? Luis is my 1.
Okay. Jack?
I would probably go Luiz with the 2 as well. And do you know what? I think they struggled a bit with Eddie's work rate. He didn't really get the ball enough to get the 1. But simply because I don't want to give it to El Neni, I'll give it to Eddie.
Okay. You got your. I'm just going to stick with.
He was shit.
I'm going to stick with Lacazette as a 2. And who was the assist?
No, it was Robertson. That was assist.
Oh, Robertson, wasn't it?
Give Robertson it.
Robertson. Where's Macy? Was he on the bench again?
No, we had Runnison. Runnison was on the bench.
Oh, fucking hell. So I can't even give Macy a 1. Best looking bloke there is probably Granit. if we go on looks.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. There was one time Granit
I'll
got the ball.
I'll go Luiz as a one. Because at the end of the season, we're going to be looking, how the fuck did we come up with that? Halls of Marble TV, he went Tobias 3, Lacquer 2, 1 for Hector, and nothing against Hector, but fair dinkum. What is the go of the 80s pedo look? The shirt tucked in, the little mo. I'm like, fucking Jesus, mate.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look.
Oh, it's terrible look. And I think it was a game during the week. He's on the sideline with the shirt tucked in. Twitter just took the piss out of him within seconds. Bellerin was trending on my feed. Okay, back to the handball. Frank said not a handball. And somebody else said, Rick said, anyone think the left-hand side of our defence looked messy yesterday? Tierney and Maitland-Niles didn't link up well. I thought Maitland-Niles was very poor, to be honest. I didn't. But then, you look at that whole team, I thought it was very poor. And I still have to put it down to the midfield lads. Like, if that midfield engine isn't working, well, how are these other blokes around them meant to be working? Yeah, that's my thoughts, but yeah. You want to do some questions, Tony? Or you want to talk anything else, or you happy there?
I don't know if one thing I don't think will come up in the questions. People are hammering Pepe for the corners. First one was terrible. The second one, watch it again. Eddie makes a front post run and then pulls out. Maybe it was a terrible corner and that was part of the plan. But the ball was going to exactly the run Eddie made before he pulled out. I actually didn't think the second one was horrendous. The first one was bad.
I was going to touch on
it. When a guy plays fucking 15 minutes and you're moaning about 2 corners he took. So.
Yeah, I know, and I watched the I was looking at the commentary on the the live ticker, they write it down if you want to follow the game that way, and it actually says 85th minute, dreadful from Pepe. For the second time, he takes a corner from the right hand and lands it on Robertson's foot at the near post. And I'm
watching it, and as Eddie makes that run, I'm shouting, "Go Eddie!" And then Eddie pulls out, and again, that might have been part of the plan, and maybe it was a terrible corner, but it could be that he's playing for the run that Eddie makes, and then he pulls out. And how many times have we seen Lacazette make that front post run and flick it on? I hate this phrase, you have to beat the first man, because we made a fucking career like in the 90s of scoring goals from flick-ons at the front post. You're not going to be 100% accurate every time. So in the 90s, untold amount of corners were lost, hit the first man or hit the front post. But then when you do flick them on and they work, you go, oh, look at that inventive set piece by Arsenal. Bolds flicked it on and Adams has nodded in at the back post. And it's like, you can't have one without the other. I really didn't think the second corner was that bad. The first one was because it basically went along the floor. But the second one, I thought the run was good. He just pulled out for some reason. And as I said, it's a run we see Lacazette make pretty much every corner. And you can look even to last year. I think Pepe, I can't remember if it was Pepe that took it. Lacazette's goal at home to Brighton was a flick on from a corner that end at the front post that ended up going in. I just think if you're going to accept that we're using front post corners, you've also then got to accept that some of them are going to hit the first man.
Darren's going to have a sook later. Him and Max do the preview pod, and they went for an hour and fucking 30 minutes the other day, and we're already at an hour 25. So, ours a review, yours a preview. So, Addy, any final thoughts on anything else out of the game that you thought we may have missed?
No. To be fair, obviously, final thoughts in general is that obviously I was thinking Arteta was always going to move back to a 4-2-3-1. I don't think it works against certain teams, the 5 at the back, but again, I was disappointed we played a 5 at the back against West Ham at home. And I feel the sooner we move away from it, then the much better football we'll play. I think we play much better football, with four at the back
Okay.
and having more pitch. But that's it.
Jack,
Agreed.
any final thoughts, buddy?
Completely agree with that either.
Okay. Just before I move on to some questions, Tottenham just beat Chelsea on penalties. Fuck, I want to watch that. Fuck.
Lampard out by Christmas.
Yeah, he's I tell you what,
me.
he's not looking good, is he? Oh, Lampard. Shit is just about to hit the fan over there, I think. I'm just going to get these questions up because I actually put it up twice. Like 3 hours.
Can I change my sacking for the season?
No.
I think it's going to be Scott Parker first.
Actually, Darren popped in the chat the other day and he wanted to change something. I can't remember what it was now. I thought, fuck off, you're not bad. Gooner Boy 88. I'm reading from the top down. If you want to jump on the Twitter profile thing and have a look at the questions. On a serious note, should Aubameyang be deployed up top, central rather as left winger? Pepe and Willian on the wings. Lacazette did nothing wrong tonight, but Aubameyang doesn't get his fair share at goals yet. He has to be the best scorer. Look, and we did touch on this, Tony, and I agree. But I don't know if you had a comment on it.
Lacazette done nothing wrong. What?
I thought you'd like that.
I know, as I said, the issue is you have to change a lot about our attacking philosophy. Is, as I said, Lacazette pulls out, defender follows in. There's a gap in the middle for a winger to run through. The issue is Williams playing basically as an auxiliary centre midfielder, so then it leaves only Aubameyang to run through that gap, and it's easy to block him off. And then defenders don't follow anyway, or West Ham played a 5, so even when someone did follow Lacazette, they still had players in there. The only ones that are stupid enough to fall for it for Fulham, but they're shite. If you play Aubameyang there, you have to completely change your attacking philosophy, which is fine, and it's probably something I think we should do, but it's not something that just you change it next week. You don't just go from building the whole time Arteta's been there, he's kind of been building this way of working, and you don't 1 week go, actually, no, we're completely going to change that and it be successful. So I'm an advocate of it long term. I know a lot of people aren't, but I don't think we're going to see it consistently for a very long time.
Addy, what are we lacking the most in the team? Midfield is obviously the one, says EIBA, but I feel we just lack goal threat in general. Nothing from the wings, nothing through the middle, no one taking the game to the opposition. Days like this, you just miss prime Sanchez and Ozil.
Yeah, I think like that goal threat, because we don't have other pulling, literally running in behind. We don't have that. With him not starting Pepe, you don't have that winger that wants to beat a player. Arbor as well. He doesn't look to get the ball and take someone on like Alexis when Alexis was there. Like again, even the football for me is not penetrative football like we did with under Arsenal. Like some of the attacking football we played under Arsenal was just beautiful, and it's not there yet. This one's more.
Well, it's what a lot of people fell in love with, wasn't it?
Yeah, this one's just more systematic football. Like it's like, yeah, you go there, you sit here, you do here. This is gonna happen. Like whereas that one was just more free flowing, and we're not free flowing yet. I think we're still under a leash. Like yeah, you guys go there, and until I don't feel this formation allows it. Well, it does allow it a bit, but against certain teams, it's not against a lot of teams. We're not as free flowing. I don't think we can be free flowing until we change to a 4-2-3-1.
Jack, when do we announce AWR and party?
I ain't got a clue. From media reports, it looks like AWR will be first done, and then if we can clear enough, fingers crossed, we'll go in for the rest.
When is the deadline day? When is the deadline?
Tuesday. And then we can sign within England, I think, for another week as well.
No, you
okay.
can't. People keep saying that. It's not. It's a championship only.
Oh, is it?
Oh, okay.
It's an EFL. So we can get rid of players to the Football League, and the Football League can buy players, but the Premier League window closes on. Is it Monday night or Tuesday night?
Tuesday.
And what about loans? Loans in, loans out.
You can get rid of players anytime as long as the window in their country is open. But loans, our window shuts. That's it.
Okay. Lots of FPL Canada. I am smashing his little fucking fantasy league this year. I think I'm up at about 100 and something, so I'm happy with that. If I remain the top 100. FPL Canada, lots of negativity out there from the Gooners. Let's face facts, though. We're a few players short of a team that can push Liverpool and City to the limits. Arteta is a good coach who will get better. Judge him on where we finish and on the players he brings in and turfs out. Yeah, fair statement. Fair statement. Joe Ramasico. I like that name. Fucking what a name. Was the ref high? So many missed fouls. Fabinho stopped Aubameyang's run. No foul. Bellerin does the same seconds later. Yellow card. How, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want. First of all, can someone kick your chicken in the face? Secondly, I didn't want to bring up the ref because we were like, tell it to shut up, man.
It's laid an egg, okay? It's fucking up there, clucking its wings. Look at me, Dad.
Look, I like chicken. I like chicken. So
Yeah, put some
Ted,
Nando
did you just
sauce in it.
refer
I'd
to
love it.
yourself Hang on. Did you just refer to
Can I have it
yourself as
baked?
Chicken's dad?
No, I walked outside.
What?
Yeah. I've got fucking heaps of animals here. Look at them all.
Anyway, back to the question and not what should be dinner. I didn't want to bring up the ref because they were so much better than us, and I don't want it to sound like an excuse. And we've got a question from a bell end in a minute that says I'm going to say that. But he had an
really high.
he had an absolute horror show. Fabinho's on Aubameyang is just a booking. I don't like. Saw someone go, "Oh, Aubameyang is weak." Don't matter if you're weak. It was a foul. And then he had one on Willian about 2 minutes before over the other side that was probably also a booking. Didn't even get a free kick. I think in every game there's 4 million. I think every throw under foul throw pretty much. But Hector gets 2 given against him. Don't get me wrong, they were foul throws, but where's the consistency? If you give them 2, you could give pretty much every throw on in professional football.
I've seen that in the chat, and I thought you lads were just taking the piss because I never thought much of it.
no, it's true.
Okay. Yeah, I never thought much of it.
Every throw is actually a foul throw in professional football.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years. I hate when they get given just
me
because.
too.
Oh, yeah, I know that, but I just thought, like, because we were losing the game or down, I just said, fucking, let's look at us.
No, it's just again. I'm not saying it changed the game, but it's just the point of I'm saying the ref had a horror show. He let a lot go, which you can't argue with. But then, as I said, the Hector one, hand up, I think it was a booking on Mane, but Fabinho had literally done it on the opposite side of the pitch 10 seconds before, and the attack that led to it. As I said, he'd done Willian over the other side. The Mane thing, I was moaning at the time, and it didn't get looked at. As I said, now I know that the rules don't look at that, but still, I thought that was a red card. The handball is questionable. I still don't know. Only one person replied. They said it wasn't. So there's just so many things, but that isn't the reason we lost the game. I'm still allowed to say the ref, I thought he was terrible. The only half interesting thing he done was moaned when Lacazette missed the one-on-one.
Moan. Okay. MAA Gunner. Here we go, Jack. Did we sell the wrong keeper?
Oh,
Toby says Emmy almost had a howler today. VAR saved him. I actually did see Arsenal fans chirping about how well he played against Villa, and I seen Villa, I think, post something about a clean sheet, or somebody posted something. It's the first clean sheet a keeper has kept at Villa in fucking years.
I think it's the first away one in like 40 odd games, but they're the only team after two games to keep 2 clean sheets.
Okay. Addy,
can I just say,
Leno
kept a clean sheet against
go on.
Fulham.
Hey?
Leno kept a clean sheet against Fulham as well. So people who are comparing, just shove it up.
Addy, you're a keeper. Did we sell the wrong keeper?
No,
Let's nip this.
no. Let's nip this in the bud. Martinez, good with his feet. You know what? Good shot stopper as well. But Leno, it's better than him. Cool. Leno's feet ain't the greatest, and we're gonna want to play that way. Then maybe, but then no. Overall, I want a keeper that's gonna keep the ball out of the net. Leno is much better than Martinez, like hands down.
But I'm just going to remind everybody though, our defense is a fucking shambles, and I would hate to be a fucking keeper.
Yesterday, 21 shots against us again. Like
you beat me to it because I was just about to have a look. How many shots were there?
21 shots. I think they had 8 on target, 6 off target, and the rest were blocked. Like literally, that's what we're up against. Like we were conceding a truly high number of shots on goal that Liverpool don't have, that so many other teams don't have. Like even the teams at the bottom, they don't keep as many. Their keeper doesn't have to save as many shots. But with Arsenal, you have to save as many shots. So
it's fucking. I'd hate to be. I really would. But you got to start somewhere.
Just quickly, I think we sold the wrong keeper.
For
the way we want to play. For the way we want to play, Emmy's much better coming for crosses. Leno's so hesitant. The vocal stuff that Addy brought up earlier, Martinez is much more vocal, and the playing out from the back is a big one for me. Leno is quicker off his line and a better shot stopper. I think it was Liam that said in the group chat, and he may have said it on the preview pod, Leno is probably the better keeper. For us, for what we need, I would prefer Martinez.
But can I just say, Tony,
the homegrown thing helps as well.
And I know we have this debate relatively regularly on here, but for how we're playing right now, I can half understand. Like I can understand why you're saying that. However, if we sign these midfielders and we change to a 4-3-3, that could then be completely overwritten.
No, it won't, because he's still going to want to play out from the back. He's not going to go, we've signed 2 midfielders, so now let's kick the ball 80 yards.
Yeah, but it also means we got more players who are better on the ball to help in the build-up.
Yeah, but Leno can't pass the ball 20 yards. This is his problem. So it's no point having all these amazing midfielders on the ball when the keeper's either got to give it to Luiz to give it to them or boot it 90 yards to Van Dijk, which is what he does. There are his 2 options. Kick it out for a throw-on or kick it to Van Dijk, or give it 2 yards to Luiz to do something better. It's the style of play. We're always going to play out from the back. And it don't matter if we go 4-3-3, 10-0-0, 0-0-10. His kicking is not good enough to play out from the back. As I said, I think he's a better keeper than Martinez. I think for what we need, Emmy is the better choice. I think we sold the wrong one.
No, you're entitled to your opinion. It surprised me that you said that, which is nothing bad, nothing. No, I'm not saying you're wrong or right, but yeah, I was just shocked. I never thought that. I honestly didn't think you'd be the one that said that. So I'm still shocked actually.
just on the shots thing that you said, they had 21. I think they had 24 against us at the Emirates when we won 2-1. And Emmy was in goal that day, and as I said, he had a worldie, and you can't rely on that every week. But it's not like we faced 21, but then when Emmy was in goal, we faced 4. Like they're playing with similar things here.
Yeah, but which is why I would prefer Leno, because until the whole structure of the team, until we know how to defend as a team from the front, from the field, and teams are only having 5, 6, 7, 8 chances against us, teams are always going to have a lot of shots. And again, that's where I would say I'd rather want Leno to save the shots. And then again, that build-up play, cool. I think we can build up, and we're always going to build up. I think that pass is a very true statement that you're making, that 20-yard pass clip into the fullbacks. I totally agree with that. But then we can still build up without that. But then that might just be a chink in the armor that we don't have in the future.
Okay, I'm going to
Yeah, I get that.
I'm going to butcher this name. Nalazzivam. He says, let's go with at Gunner. Oh, I fucking can't even see that cunt. Okay, nobody seems to talk about Arteta's gross mismanagement of our talent from last season. Martin Ellie was unused even before the lockdown and his injury. Saka has been criminally unutilised. Same with Pepe. He hasn't set the field on fire, but he's never got a continuous run. Makes a couple of good points, Eddie. I see you nodding there.
Yeah. I saw this question and I mentioned this before. Like Martinelli, again, that Chelsea game. After that Chelsea game, he was not included in anything. So again, it's what happened with Martinelli. Like literally, Martinelli after that Chelsea game where he did the long ass run, his next appearance was against Olympiacos, where he came in the second half of extra time and we're looking for a goal. And again now it's Ozil after lockdown, never to be seen. What's happening behind the scenes that Arteta's saying, yeah, you know what, I'm not feeding them anymore. And Martin,
yeah, I was wondering that too, Addy, last season, and I thought to myself, maybe Arteta's come in and he's still checking out who's who in the zoo. You know, like he doesn't know. He probably never heard of Martinelli and different players who've been brought in. Guendouzi, you know, he didn't sign these players, so I don't know whether he was thinking, well, these guys, I need to find out how they play and a bit more about them first. Maybe that's look, and I know I'm clutching, I'm really clutching at straws here, but I couldn't think of why either. You know, and maybe that's what it was, and then now he's been injured, which makes it hard. Pepe, I still can't work out Pepe. For me, I don't know. Like everyone knows a Pepe, so does he not suit his style? I don't know.
I disagree with a lot of the question, to be honest, because I don't remember Martinelli not playing pre-lockdown. I know Adi said he didn't play after Chelsea until the Olympiacos when he came on in extra time, but he played at Bournemouth away in the cup. He played at Portsmouth away in the cup, and I can't remember if he played in other games. So I'm not going to make any disagreement, but he definitely did play in games after Chelsea.
But sorry. But then look in what team? Because in that.
No, I'm just saying off the top of my head. I can't say if he did or didn't. I'm just sitting here as I'm thinking of it. He definitely did play in them games. But Saka, I mean, he said a lot of times that he doesn't want to run into the ground, as we've seen. It's a weird one because look, when I don't want to take it back years, but when Jack got injured, it was like, oh fucking hell, Wenger's running into the ground. So now Arteta's trying to avoid that, and he's openly said he's trying to avoid that with Saka. But as soon as we lose a game, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, why ain't Saka playing? Bearing in mind, he's played 290 minutes this week. Like, he played 90 minutes against West Ham. He played 90 minutes, or he played most of the game. I don't think he came off, so I'm pretty sure he played 90 minutes against Leicester in the Cup. So it's like, come on, like, you can't moan at people for running someone into the ground, and on the next breath say, oh, he should be playing 270 minutes in top-level games within a week when he's, like, 18 years old or whatever he is. The Pepe one's bizarre. I prefer Pepe to William, but I can understand why he played yesterday. He wanted the extra man in midfield. It didn't work, and it was ultimately the wrong decision. But I can understand the thinking behind it, and it's not what I would have done, but I can understand the thinking behind it.
Can I just ask Martinelli, before he came to Arsenal, there was reports. Was it City or Manchester United who didn't want him?
United.
It was okay. Okay, well, that goes.
He rejected them. It wasn't that they didn't want him, but it was a year before, and he didn't want to move at that time.
Okay. No, I thought it might have been City with. No, I thought Arteta might have known something about him through that. That was all. But yeah, that rules out. Yeah, I don't know.
The two games after lockdown were bizarre because the City one, okay, the game was maybe gone, but then Brighton, we would 1-1 pressing for the win, and I remember he brought Tierney on, and he didn't use all of his 5 subs either. I don't think. And it was bizarre. Everyone was going, oh, where's Martinelli? And then I think he got injured that week after. So then that was the end of it. So that was bizarre not using him in them 2 games. As I said, I don't remember before that him being noticeably out, but that's just my memory. I could be wrong.
Look, I get from the, and I get where, mate, he's saying, mismanagement of our talent from last season. Pepe, like we all said, it is so bizarre. I don't get that. And we can look at Ozil, we can look at Guendouzi. And this is what, look, I'm not going to, I am far from Arteta out at this stage, boys, okay? I'll just make sure I say that. I am nowhere near that at the moment. But I will judge him at the end of this season. And as a fan, we will all sit here and judge. We judged Emery and things like that. But I hope, and I'm seeing it a little bit, Arteta is the boss, but I hope he's not letting his own pride and emotions and things get in the way of results. And I said it before, the Guendouzi situation, the Ozil situation, this young Martinelli, everything we did see from him was great when he did play. Pepe, he is a brilliant winger and pacey, and we paid a lot of money for him, and yet he's not starting at the moment. So I hope it's not a trend that I'm seeing, boys. That's all. And, old mate then goes on and he says, Arteta has been a rich man's Emery. We finished 8th for the reason. FA Cup means fuck all if we are going to fall out of the top 4 again. Not having Awa or Party is no excuse for not playing key talent that we already have. It's baffling. What about you, Jack? You got any thoughts on any of that?
Don't even know why he's saying that about Arteta now. I mean, the guy's been in the job for only a fair number of months. He's already won us our first major trophy post Arsene. I think you've kind of just got to ride the wave. I mean, look at Liverpool. It took them at least 3 or 4 years until they were contending again, and it happens. I mean, look, people have this mentality that we're the Arsenal, and the fact is that we are, but also what you have to realise is that we aren't the team that we were. We have a lot of rebuilding to do, and it does take time, and people need to, rather than expecting it here and now, need to sit back and look at the positives that they've shown us, and there are many.
Would you boys, and look, I know this is never going to happen, but what would you think? Oh, it'd be great if Arteta came out and said, geez, Guendouzi, he's not going to start again. Look, we are trying to move him on. Would that make people feel a bit more comfortable? Ozil situation,
stupid.
like saying,
It'd be stupid for the club because it means you lose every single bit of negotiation power that you have.
But he's sitting on the bench doing nothing.
This is where I half disagree, because on the Guendouzi situation, he shouldn't come out and say anything. We all know he's not going to play, but coming out and saying it damages you, which it already has done, which is why he lied and said, he's still in our plans, he has a chance. The Ozil situation, he's valueless anyway. So you can't make his value negative by saying it. And everyone wants to know, because personally, I still believe it's not a footballing thing. So come out and say that. The issue is, if it isn't,
something's going on.
No, the issue is, if it isn't, then it's a hierarchy thing, and you're coming out and speaking against a hierarchy, which you never really want to do. You don't slag off your boss. That's just basics of life. So the Guendouzi situation, he absolutely shouldn't come out and talk about it. The Ozil situation, I would like him to, but I fully understand why he wouldn't, and why it'd probably be a bad idea to do it.
Are you worried though, Tony? Like, you've got 2 players who, let's face it, are a bad smell around the club. Now, if Pepe, and I'm not saying nothing about Pepe at the moment, but if it goes down this path of Pepe Willian, and he keeps starting Willian because, hey, he bought Willian, so he wants to prove to everybody that, hey, I bought the player and this is the player we should have had, not Pepe, and blah, blah, blah. Then we've got Pepe, Guendouzi, Ozil stinking out the joint. And then you've got Lacazette who goes, fuck, well, you know what I mean? It's just becoming I am worried about that becoming a bit of a trend.
I think you're making a trend where there isn't one. If a player doesn't play, earn your place. If you can't earn your place, then it is what it is. He's not completely bombed Pepe off. By all accounts, I think Aubameyang said in his interview that Pepe's his love child. He spends all his time working with him. But if he doesn't think he's right for that game, as I said, I don't agree with how he played the game, but I can fully understand what he was trying to do, and Willian was key to that.
But that's my issue. Like, have all this news, him coming out, yeah, Pepe, but then you don't play him. Cool, you played him against midweek, but then last week as well against West Ham. Why didn't you play him?
I think that I honestly think the issue with West Ham is Willian was undroppable after Fulham, and we all sat here and said that the way Willian played against Fulham, he had to. It was stylistically, and I said I know you wasn't on the show. Stylistically, he played wrong. He was the wrong player to play against West Ham, but the way he played against Fulham, you can't take him out of the team.
But then that's where my thing comes into play with the thing. Do we not? Is he going with that Arsene Wenger attitude of, you know what, I'm not looking at the opposition. I'm just going to play a way that I want to play. I don't care what their weaknesses are. Don't care what their strengths are. I'm just going to play that way. Is that what Arteta?
I just think it. I don't think it's that. I just think he had the shirt. Like it's football, innit? Once you're in possession of a shirt, if you do enough, you're going to keep it. In general, like 99.9% of times, if you do enough, you're going to keep the shirt. And that's what it is. I'll be very surprised if Pepe doesn't start this weekend. Like as I sit here now, I expect Pepe to start on Sunday.
If he doesn't,
then he doesn't. It's not a big thing.
No, but if he doesn't, okay, you expect him to start. If he doesn't start this weekend, let's say next weekend as well, he still doesn't start.
He ain't going to start Man City. Unless he, as I said, I expect him to start on the weekend and it gives him his chance to keep the shirt. That's what I expect. But if he doesn't, it's not a big thing. A player misses a few games. He might not feel he's ready yet to fit into his plan. And also, Pepe's goals are all going to come from arriving at the back post. If you're going to play Maitland-Niles wing back, you're pretty much saying, well, we're not going to try and get Pepe goals because Maitland-Niles ain't going to get to the byline and cut it back. So then you're just relying on Pepe's 1v1, and you've got a factor, is Pepe's 1v1 with defenders worth more to the team than Willian's energy and Willian's work rate? That's game by game, and it's also personal opinion. But if there is absolutely no big deal if Pepe is not in the team for the next 2 games, not starting for the next 2 games. I would prefer him to be, but I think people are trying to make a situation out of nothing. Oh, he had 2 bad corners and now he's not in the team. Right, let's sell him for 10 million and make some money back. Fuck off.
Hey, someone's got to play devil's advocate, otherwise it'd be a very boring podcast. And I've got to vent what the fans, like I've got to be the advocate for the fans here. It can't be all Tony.
Fans are idiots.
Okay, Frankie, he loves you. Frankie, you all laughed at my reject team. Now look who's laughing. This team stinks. Hashtag Arteta out. Very poor performance from Arsenal.
Did he actually hashtag Arteta out?
Hashtag Arteta out. That's what it says. And then he says, I can't remember his team of rejects.
The only one that started yesterday was Louise. I checked.
Okay, Tony will talk bollocks again and say this. It was the ref's fault we lost.
Nope, prick. Look, the thing is,
one of Tony's great fans.
No, the thing is, let's make this simple. He openly says in these tweets he's happy we lost because it proved his reject list right. I ain't entertaining your conversation if you're happy your team's lost. I don't. I've never ever sat here and gone, yes, Arsenal have lost. I'm so fucking happy. Yes, I was right. Arsenal have lost. Fuck off.
What was his team of rejects? What was it? I don't remember.
Smith Rowe, Eddie, Socrates, Mustafi. I can't remember exactly. There's a list of about 11 players. Jack, you was on the show.
The list I went through last week with the transfers. Yeah. Okay, righto. Oh, for fuck's sake. A couple of comments coming through. Worst game I've seen Aubameyang play. Usually even he doesn't score.
Yeah, no service.
I was just about to add that. His work rate is up there. Done fuck all yesterday. Hopefully he doesn't do an over. Look, Rick, I understand where you're coming from because you look at an Aubameyang in times like this and you think, just do something. Fucking score. Do something. And when he wasn't getting the ball, and I have to put it down to Granite Nel Nanny boys. I'm sorry, but you lads might disagree, but it's I sit here some weeks and I say, look at Granite and look what he's done, and I appreciate everything he's done, and you know, with the long balls, the assist, you know, things like that people mightn't see his game, but he was fucking poor yesterday. Like he was, him and El Neni. Well, I could put
he
that.
thrives with a good partner.
That's what I was going to say. It's the ingredients he's got, and Granite is slow on the turn, and he can be slow with the ball. And when Liverpool are rushing up on him,
but then we have no midfield. What I was saying, we have no midfielders that can actually take the ball and drive out. Like Ceballos did that when he came on, got the ball, he can turn and everything. But Elneny and Xhaka cannot do that. They cannot do that.
And that's also, it shows how bad it is because that ain't Ceballos' game. The fact that he's the one we're pointing to saying he can do this.
Yeah, when that's right.
He can do it better than the other two, but that's not. You don't look to Danny for that.
A couple more questions. Why do you think Elneny played ahead of Ceballos? I just can't see it because Ceballos is more press resistance and better on the ball on the counter. If he plays through Aubameyang as well, and then he can run, but doesn't do anything other than play sideways. That's from Hakon Larson. Yeah, we have covered it. I really think we should upgrade on Lacazette. I don't think he does anything better. For the example, right now,
upgrade already in the team.
Yeah, I'm just thinking we did cover Lacazette.
Yeah, we did.
I'm just going through all the questions. Is Arteta way is Jay says, is Arteta's way of picking lineups based on players giving 100% effort in training the right way? Elneny over Ceballos. And this is probably what I was more pointing to, I guess, is similar to what Jay says. It seems like Arteta, he's got to make a stance. And, hey, you have to do that. As a boss, you have to make a stance. So maybe that's what he's doing, lads. He's going, hey, I'm the fucking boss. If you don't pull your socks up and have a go, well, I'm not picking you. It is baffling.
Who knows? I mean, we're dealing with no idea. Like, no one knows why Elneny started. And you get the impression that, I don't think it is that. I think Aubameyang could down tools in training and he's going to play. Like,
yeah, I suppose if you look at it,
we can guess, but it is just that, it's a guess.
Hakon says, if we're going to play and set up counter attack, wouldn't it be better to use Aubameyang up front and Pepe on the right and Willian on the left? I agree. I have to agree.
I would go Saka rather than Willian.
Yeah,
also
100%.
Oh, okay, yeah, good shit.
But this is what I was going to say earlier. I would have gone back 5 yesterday, but when you know that you're not going to get your overlapping centre back because you're going to be pinned back, especially with Salah and Mane, I would have actually gone three proper centre backs. So I would have played Gabriel. As I said, and then it doesn't matter so much that your midfield's hiding because you've got a proper wing back that can get up and down, and then you've got 2 at least ball playing centre backs, and then your other one you lynch off his holding. And yeah, then there's an argument with Pepe. If you play Pepe, you pin Robertson back. Like their second goal doesn't happen if Pepe's on the pitch. And we can say William worked harder, which is a fact, but the fear factor of thinking, shit, if I go and Pepe doesn't track me and they overturn the ball is a problem. So there's different ways of doing things. But I'm looking ahead to City because I'm expecting a very similar style of performance. Obviously, there's 2 weeks. We've got City away.
Well, we're going to know who we got in as well. You know, are we getting a
but I still expect the back 5 at City. I just think he'll do it with 3 centre backs.
Hakon Larson, Van Dijk has no threat in Lacazette. He's faster and stronger. Aubameyang is faster and cleverer player. He causes him more trouble, in my opinion. We've touched on Lacazette to the cows come home, boys. Look, it has been 2 hours. I was going to quickly talk about transfers. I'm going to skip that. We have a transfer window closing next Tuesday. Tony, we might jump on and do a little transfer podcast or something at the end of the window or something like that, because we're going to be in
Well,
3
we're
hours.
playing
otherwise.
Sunday. We're going to be on when the window's closed. Wait, I'm not sure if it's a 5 o'clock or an 11 o'clock. But either way, we're going to be on or when it's closing, or it would have just closed. So it'll just fit into our normal time next week.
Okay. Yep.
Perfectly.
Excellent. And Max, he's going to hosting the preview show. I think, Jack, you're coming on that, aren't you? Because Liam's not. Liam's
I
unavailable.
need to sort out if I definitely can or not. I did say in the chat. Oh,
Yeah.
It's Darren.
If-
It's Darren that's unavailable, by the way.
Yeah, Darren's unavailable. So yeah, Jack was. I think Liam was unavailable too. But anyway, Max will sort that shit out for the preview show against Sheffield United. Max, not Brighton. I think that's about it. I was going to say something else and I can't fucking remember. I had to give some kind of promo. It doesn't matter. Fuck it. I can't remember. Don't ask me to do promos and shout outs for you because I've got no show of fucking remembering. Thank you, everybody, for downloading. Thank you for listening. Oh, I had to, that was a shout out to our friends over in the US, California. For some reason, we are smashing numbers in California at the moment. I don't know who's in California, but thank you and shout out to you lads over there.
If we're all them listeners in California, like I love $1 Million List in LA, so get me over there and take me to some houses.
Look.
Wait, all the people in California, DM me on Twitter at @theplugAFC. I've got a question for you guys.
Look. If you're gonna get Tony out there, you have to make sure you get me out there. That's what I'm saying. Only fair.
Okay, boys. Thank you again, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers.
Cheers, lads.
See you later.
Cheers.